Hi everyone, welcome back to the Pill to Know channel. Flu season is here again. But do you actually know what influenza is, how it spreads, and what you can do to protect yourself? Today we're breaking down everything you need to know about the flu, what it is, how it's different from a cold or COVID-19, and the best ways to prevent and treat it. Whether you're here to learn for yourself, a loved one, or just stay informed, you're in the right place. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's break it all down. Simply, clearly, and with your health in mind. Disclaimer, before we jump in, a quick but important reminder. This video is for educational purposes only. To stay unbiased, we'll be using generic drug names throughout. And remember, if you're thinking about starting a treatment plan, always talk to your healthcare provider first. Your health is unique, and your care should be too. What is influenza? Let's start with the basics. According to the CDC, influenza, or the flu, is a contagious respiratory illness caused by influenza viruses that infect the nose, throat, and sometimes the lungs. It can range from mild to severe, and in serious cases, it can even be deadly. Why does the flu matter? Now you might be wondering, why is the flu such a big deal? Every year, seasonal flu causes millions of illnesses, thousands of hospitalizations, and thousands of deaths worldwide. Between 2010 and 2018, in the US alone, the flu was linked to an estimated 4 to 23 million medical visits, 140,000 to 960,000 hospitalizations, and 12,000 to 79,000 deaths each year. So yes, the flu is much more than just a bad cold. What are common flu symptoms? So how do you know if you have the flu? Flu symptoms usually come on suddenly. People with the flu often experience fever or chills, though not everyone gets a fever, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle or body aches, headache, fatigue or tiredness, and sometimes vomiting or diarrhea, more common in children than adults. Interestingly, not everyone who catches the flu will feel sick. A study from recent flu seasons, 2017 to 2023, found that about 8% of people who tested positive didn't have any symptoms at all. Cold, flu, and COVID-19, what's the difference? Now let's clear up some confusion, because flu, colds, and COVID-19 can look really similar. They're all contagious respiratory illnesses, but they're caused by different viruses. Colds can be caused by many viruses like rhinoviruses, parainfluenza, and seasonal coronaviruses. Flu is caused only by influenza viruses. COVID-19 is caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, first identified in 2019. Because they share many symptoms, it's often hard to tell them apart without testing. In general, the flu hits harder and comes on more suddenly than a cold. A cold tends to be milder and rarely leads to complications. COVID-19 spreads more easily and can cause more severe illness than the flu. A few unique clues to help you tell them apart. Loss of taste or smell is much more common with COVID-19. Diarrhea happens more in kids with flu, but it can occur in any age group with COVID. And just to note, parainfluenza is not the same as seasonal influenza, and seasonal coronaviruses are different from SARS-CoV-2. Types of influenza viruses. Let's talk about the flu viruses themselves. There are 4 main types, A, B, C, and D. Influenza A and B cause the seasonal flu we see every winter. Influenza A can also trigger global outbreaks, or pandemics, when a new strain appears that people aren't immune to. It's divided into subtypes based on 2 proteins, H, hemagglutinin, and N, neuraminidase, like H1N1 or H3N2. Influenza B viruses are split into 2 lineages, B Victoria and B Yamagata. Interestingly, B Yamagata hasn't been detected since early 2020. Influenza C usually causes only mild illness. Influenza D mainly affects cattle and doesn't infect people. Prevention. How to protect yourself. Now that we know what the flu is, let's talk about how to avoid it. The best defense? The flu vaccine. The CDC recommends that everyone 6 months and older get vaccinated every year, especially people at higher risk, including adults 65 and older, children under 2 years old, people with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, or heart disease, pregnant women, people who are immunocompromised or living in long-term care facilities. Types of flu vaccines. There are several types of flu vaccines available in the US. 1. Trivalent vaccines protect against 3 flu strains. 1A, H1N1, 1A, H3N2, and 1B, Victoria. 2. Quadrivalent vaccines. These used to include an extra B strain, Yamagata. But since that strain hasn't been seen since March 2020, starting in the 2025 to 2026 season, all U.S. flu vaccines will be trivalent. 3. High-dose vaccines, designed for adults 65 and older, containing 4 times the antigen to trigger a stronger immune response. These are also trivalent for the 2025 to 2026 season. While not FDA approved for people under 65, they may be considered for adults aged 18 to 64 who are immunosuppressed. 4. Cell-based vaccines, grown in cell cultures instead of eggs, making them egg-free. 5. Adjuvanted vaccines include an extra ingredient that boosts immune response, recommended for adults 65 and older. 6. Recombinant vaccines, made without using eggs and contain a higher antigen dose, about 3 times more. 7. Nasal spray flu vaccine, live attenuated influenza vaccine, made from a weakened live virus, approved for healthy people aged 2 to 49, not recommended for pregnant women or anyone with a weakened immune system. Everyday preventive actions. Vaccines are your first line of defense, but everyday habits make a big difference too. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. If you're sick, stay home for at least 24 hours after your fever is gone and you're feeling better. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or hum "Happy Birthday" twice. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. And consider wearing a mask in crowded indoor spaces for an extra layer of protection. Treatment. What if you get the flu? Even with precautions, sometimes the flu still finds a way in. So what then? If you catch the flu, antiviral medications can help, especially if started early. The Infectious Diseases Society of America, IDSA, recommends treatment for anyone hospitalized with flu, people with severe or worsening illness, high-risk groups like children under 2, adults over 65, pregnant women, and those with chronic health condition. Even healthy individuals can benefit if treatment starts within the first 48 hours of symptoms. Here are some common antivirals used in the U.S. 1. Oseltamivir phosphate, oral. Oseltamivir phosphate is FDA approved for the treatment of acute, uncomplicated influenza in individuals 2 weeks of age and older who have had symptoms for no more than 2 days. It's also approved for prophylaxis, or prevention, of influenza in people 1 year and older. Oseltamivir comes in capsule form and as a powder for oral suspension, making it suitable for both adults and children. Common side effects include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 2. Baloxavir marboxil, oral. Baloxavir marboxil is FDA approved for the treatment of acute, uncomplicated influenza in individuals 12 years and older who have been symptomatic for no more than 48 hours. It's available as oral tablets. One important tip: avoid taking baloxavir with dairy products, calcium-fortified beverages, or supplements containing calcium, iron, magnesium, selenium, or zinc, as these can reduce how well the drug works. Common side effects include diarrhea, bronchitis, nasopharyngitis, headache, and nausea. 3. Zanamivir, inhaled. Zanamivir is FDA approved for the treatment of influenza in people 7 years and older who have been symptomatic for no more than 2 days, and for prevention in those 5 years and older. It's available as an oral inhalation powder. However, it is not recommended for individuals with underlying airway diseases such as asthma or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Common side effects include sinusitis, inflammation of the sinuses, dizziness, fever or chills, joint pain, arthralgia, and articular rheumatism. 4. Peramivir, intravenous. Peramivir is FDA approved for the treatment of acute, uncomplicated influenza in adults 18 years and older who have been symptomatic for no more than 2 days. It's administered as an intravenous infusion. The most common side effect reported is diarrhea. Remember, antivirals aren't antibiotics. They target viruses, not bacteria, and they're not a substitute for getting your flu shot every year. One more note: if you're planning to get the nasal spray flu vaccine, don't take antiviral drugs for at least 48 hours before or 2 weeks after getting the vaccine unless directed by your healthcare provider. The flu might seem routine, but it's still a serious illness that affects millions every year. The good news, it's also highly preventable with vaccination, good hygiene, and early treatment when needed. So this flu season, protect yourself, protect your loved ones, and help stop the spread. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to stay connected and support the Pill2Know community. I'll include references in the description. Have questions? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, let's stay healthy with Pill2Know.